Yugu Movies says, focus on good films. Shuij, I think I've fallen for you, haven't I? You've fallen for just a bubble love, a mere bubble game. The more you love, the easier this bubble bursts. The answer's clear, but you'll keep playing this game. It's a needless game, like a fish wanting to swim into the deep sea. The story happened when, on a luxury cruise, most passengers were middle-class couples. Nigel from England and Fiona were a 7-year married couple. They're off to poor India, ostensibly for spiritual healing, but really to save their bland marriage. Though they're already an old couple who doesn't crave life's passion. The couple in the restroom met a woman. She seemed the world's most enchanting. Yet her eyes were empty, devoid, just a hint of sadness. They couldn't find other emotions. The couple helped her to their side to rest. Asked her destination, she just said, very, very far away. After day 1, Fiona prepared for an early night, but Nigel decided to grab a drink. There, a captivating woman swayed alluringly. Her snake waist instantly captivated Nigel. The woman slowly approached. She's naturally alluring, embodying myriad charms. Charms. After his recent losses, Nigel couldn't resist. She's truly a temptress. Wait, isn't this the woman who vomited earlier? Nigel suppressed his urge to flirt. She responded warmly, asking Nigel for a joke. He reluctantly made one up, but she gave him no face, mocking him instead. Nigel reeled, unable to recover. He couldn't recover. A blue sea cruise. A strange encounter. From then on, he'd no mind for love. A lame man, Oscar, approached. Nigel. The man's Oscar, that woman's husband. Is this a coupled situation? Nigel was lost in thought, but the man grabbed him. You want my wife? Admit it, it's fine. If you want, I'll tell you everything. Nigel, though he said it was indecent, was actually deeply drawn to this strange couple. Nigel reluctantly followed Oscar to his cabin. After pouring drinks, Oscar began his story. It began one autumn in Paris, a romantic season. He and his wife Mimi met on the Route 96 bus. He remembered Mimi wore white sneakers, a dress. Her elegant beauty, youthful and captivating. Coincidentally, the inspector was checking tickets, but Mimi couldn't find hers. Critically, Oscar played hero. He was kicked off for punishment. They both left a deep impression. Oscar's American. Young, he inherited a fortune. With a writer's dream. He moved to Paris, city of romance, to write. After 8 years, he'd published nothing. Oscar was open-minded. He'd enjoyed Paris's romance. But since that day, Oscar couldn't cope. He couldn't write, sleep, or enjoy nightly romance. That girl, like moonlight in his heart, consumed him. Oscar started searching all Route 96 buses, but failed. Until one accidental meal, Oscar saw his moonlight again. Mimi was a dance student, working at this restaurant as a waitress. Oscar immediately asked Mimi out. Grateful, she readily agreed. With further interaction, Oscar completely fell. Her captivating figure, piercing eyes, charming smile, and passionate dialogue. Mimi had childlike innocence, plus mature allure. This rare mix captivated Oscar. He couldn't resist. They quickly grew close and became intimate. Oscar felt Mimi opened heaven's gates for him. He entered Eden, became Adam, tasted forbidden fruit. All earthly beauty was in a woman's body. They didn't leave for 3 days, day and night. Made love. They drowned in passion's deep sea, sustained by love and baguettes. Oscar joined Mimi's work, doing only 2 things daily. Either date and flirt, or make love. Mimi would dance a spontaneous religious dance as a prelude, or pour milk on her skin to entice Oscar. Every room corner bore traces of their love. Their passion was delightful and expanded desire. Nigel listened, bristling, but as an Englishman, he had to state his position. How can they speak of such things? I can't listen. Goodbye. The main reason was Nigel needed to report to his wife. She'd be furious. Next day, telling his wife, Nigel complained. That pervert's truly vulgar. If it weren't for caring for the disabled, I wouldn't listen. At breakfast, Oscar came uninvited, while Mimi ran to the captain, flaunting herself. Oscar didn't care at all, he seemed willing to share his wife. After flirting, Mimi casually returned, then secretly fondled him under the table. Nigel felt thrilled, but couldn't speak. Provoked, Nigel couldn't help but return to Oscar's monologue. Several seasons later, Oscar and Mimi had unlocked every knowledge. Though Oscar still wanted to explore Mimi, Oscar could predict their desires would peak, and after that summit would be an irreversible decline. To stop that, they fearlessly reached a tacit understanding. Mimi initiated SM. This groundbreaking exploration instantly sent dopamine soaring. They were like fish wanting to swim into the deep sea. They used various gear, leather clothes, candles, ropes, knives, new tricks. Effects were significant. They were ecstatic. They played for weeks without leaving. They saw nobody else, but as quickly as passion soared, it plummeted as terribly. Soon, they lost interest in their drama. So they went out, partying, exploring more exciting swapping. Oscar impatiently found a target to pair with Mimi's private friend. Mimi also easily seduced a black guy with hot dancing. At first, Oscar watched calmly, but slowly he felt something's wrong. He felt no excitement, only pain and anger. Oscar wouldn't back down first. He didn't call Mimi, leaving the bar alone. Mimi, noticing, anxiously returned home. Home. Oscar knew he still loved Mimi, or he wouldn't care. But uncontrolled desire had bottomed out their relationship. If they couldn't explore darker desires, their relationship would be bland. Hearing this, Nigel sighed. He feared Oscar and Mimi would do something outrageous. Just then, Mimi arrived, still listening to Oscar ramble. Nigel's extremely patient with me. Perhaps we're both like-minded, with such broad minds. Nigel left amid laughter. Back in his cabin, his wife seemed displeased. Nigel said he'd been innocent, yet he'd spent afternoon. The woman's low vibe told Fiona her husband was lying. Still, their marriage had always been polite. They'd never thought of exploring dark places. The Indian on deck suggested to Fiona, "You must believe children are marriage's true sacred things. Better than any travel." Nigel then met Mimi again. She urgently told Nigel Oscar was lying. She cared about Nigel's opinion of her. She hoped Nigel would come to her room that afternoon. Seduced, Nigel completely lost reason. He used caring for the disabled as an excuse. Dismissing his wife, Nigel rushed to Mimi's room. He kissed the doorknob, crept to her bed, grabbed her, and kissed her. But a big yellow tooth scared him soft. It was Oscar, being played a fool. Nigel, annoyed, prepared to leave, but Oscar enticed him to stay for the story. "Just finish my story, Nigel, and you can have her. We both think you're a trustworthy man. Anyway, he can't be a man, but Mimi has a woman's needs." Nigel shouted they're disgusting perverts. But his body still sat down uncontrollably. Oscar continued, saying lovers' pursuit of carnal desire should end at passion's low, not wait for its inevitable end. From then on, Oscar's desire for Mimi dwindled, even though Mimi was still beautiful. People are like that, everything enjoyed long gets tiresome. But Mimi felt Oscar no longer liked her. "My body isn't getting your hot words. You weren't like this. Don't you love me anymore?" Oscar got annoyed. "I still love you. I'm crazy about your body. But if you insist I don't, then just go. I'm not helpless without you." But Mimi wanted to prove Oscar couldn't do without her. Oscar seemed completely unfazed by her leaving, until Mimi found her leaving threat useless. She returned to Oscar's arms, begging him, "Don't let me go. I love you, I really do, Mimi begged, and Oscar's heart softened. Stay, but behave yourself. The killer was Oscar had completely lost interest in Mimi. He'd lost interest. Every night he dreaded sleep. Forced by Mimi's demands to grind his lips on hers like a cigarette, it seemed only this could prove he still loved Mimi. He'd lost interest. They started picking fights. Old virtues weren't praised, past traits became flaws, everything became a flaw. The white moonlight on the lake finally turned into mere mortal words. You've studied English so long, it's still bad, haha. You've been in Paris so long, your French isn't great. You write for years, yet can't publish a book. She became a critic, you're just a low-level waiter. Their bickering escalated into domestic violence. Mimi hit Oscar, he fainted. She woke, seeing Oscar's worried look. Mimi forgave everything, just love me. Nearing a replay, they reenacted their early romance. One day, at sunset by the park's Ferris wheel, Mimi said, I hope it's always beautiful like today, my dear. Do you want our love to last forever? Of course I want love to be beautiful, but good things don't last. We shouldn't lie to ourselves. Our love was sweet, but it's rotten and sour now. I'd hoped you'd leave first. Do you like dragging this on forever? I don't. It's unbearable. I want to belittle you, but I'd also belittle myself. We're stripping each other's dignity. Don't ruin good memories. While we've still got some dignity left, let's break up. Mimi still begged Oscar as before, but Oscar was heartless this time, dumping Mimi. After the breakup, Oscar occasionally thought of her. But mostly, he felt relieved. He'd finally regained freedom. Who'd be so foolish as to give up a whole garden for one flower? Even a precious one isn't worth it. Human greed fully reveals itself in love. Men naturally want to possess more women. Only women want to possess a man completely. Even if Mimi still called Oscar, I can't live without you. I love you. Oscar wouldn't change his mind, he firmly told Mimi, one day you'll thank me for ending it. Oscar still wandered home late that night, finding Mimi asleep at his door. Mimi still wouldn't give up. Without you, I can't live. Please, just one last chance. Oscar was unmoved, like iron. Mimi desperately begged, just to be with you. I'll endure anything. You can curse me, hit me, find other women, I'll do anything. Just don't make me leave, even if you don't love me. Just pity me, keep me here. Listening to Mimi's bottomless please, Oscar suddenly had a crazy idea. Undeniably, humanity's deepest nature hides a longing. Nothing stimulates it more than humble pleas. Insidiously, Oscar began his unreserved longing. His idea to belittle Mimi was poetic, like a crematorium. He brought friends to party, flirted with other women, and criticized Mimi's taste in hairstyle. He even had pups with the neighbor's dog. He'd have sex with Mimi but call other women's names. Mimi was in pain, but she feared abandonment more. She'd endure anything, sacrifice anything. Oscar found joy in tormenting her. Like it was the start again. But one day, Mimi said she was pregnant. Oscar trembled. He wasn't father material. Luckily, Mimi was obedient. Oscar used sweet words to trick Mimi into an abortion. Seeing weak Mimi, Oscar's conscience felt a sudden pang of guilt. He promised Mimi they'd leave this sad place for good once she recovered, to find love again. Oscar was always obedient. He and Mimi boarded their flight. Just before takeoff, Oscar claimed he'd check luggage. He never returned, leaving only a sick Mimi. She waited in vain. Her repeated calls only brought her to reflect on her misery. Nigel thought Oscar's story was half true, half false. Nobody tells such wicked deeds. He left righteously and got a poem as a reward for listening. Nigel was hooked, unable to stop. He wanted to applaud for joy. But Mimi said, wait till you've heard it all. Nigel prepared to go home, tell his wife, then return for Oscar's tale. But he found his wife with a man flirting. Nigel sweetly warned Fiona, that guy isn't good news. But Fiona saw through Nigel. You're no saint, always chasing skirts. Care for the disabled? You just want to take care of her, right? Fiona warned Nigel. If he dared do anything improper, she'd repay him double. But even with Fiona's warning, Nigel still couldn't control himself. Nigel feigned anger. You think that of me? I'm not afraid, I'm going. Nigel went to hear more. After ditching Mimi, Oscar resumed his playboy life for years. His endless rotation of women kept his dopamine levels soaring. Oscar partied daily till his legs felt weak. One drained morning, he had a car crash. Oscar thought it was karma. Luckily, it was just a minor concussion and hip fracture. He recovered in months, but the terrifying part for Oscar, none of his many lovers came to visit. During his boring wait, Oscar finally got a female visitor, Mimi. Oscar still joked like a man. Good thing you haven't killed yourself. But Mimi wasn't angry. She humorously replied, I've been dead anyway. Mimi looked different, confident, and beautiful. She'd clearly moved on. Oscar felt pleased. Mimi wasn't clinging. They chatted like old friends for a while. But just as they said goodbye, Mimi suddenly struck, pushing Oscar off his bed. This left him paraplegic, permanently losing his ability to walk or regulate body temp. That wasn't the worst. Since Oscar had no family, Mimi volunteered to care for him for life. Mimi's care was ingenious and attentive. She never hit him, always treated him with dirty needles. For his health, she forbade Oscar from talking to anyone. I heard you want to publish. I'm afraid you'll get tired, so I've rejected your book deals. You hated my cooking, right? So I'll make you eat worse food. You cared about your image daily. Now you'll just pee your pants. I won't change them. Oscar, humiliated, begged Mimi to end it quickly. Mimi granted his wish, giving Oscar a pistol. Want a quick end? Do it yourself. But Oscar couldn't. Mimi didn't let him contact strangers. She only let him contact kids. Oscar thought Mimi mocked him for never being a dad, but Mimi told him after that abortion, she got complications, almost died, and needed a hysterectomy to survive. She and Oscar shared the same plight. She'd never be a mother. Oscar felt deep remorse for his evil. He was truly a scumbag, hating himself more than Mimi did. But Mimi said, no. No one hates you more than I do. To atone, Oscar began enduring Mimi's revenge, thinking he was ready, but he finally broke down. Mimi brought back that black guy. After their intimate dance, in front of Oscar, she figuratively cuckolded him, giving him a vast green prairie. Oscar knew he wasn't a complete man, but he still found this hard to accept. And this kept happening, to cuckold Oscar even more thoroughly. Mimi took Oscar into marriage. They both cooperated, knowing they knew only their mutual hatred could keep them alive. They reached a rare but truly stable relationship. The story nearly ends here. Ended. After this tale of hate, Nigel felt he understood Oscar and Mimi better. Nigel, with surging conviction, told himself this hurt woman needed his care and warmth. After a shot of courage, Nigel went to Mimi. Swam. She was like a fish drawn to the deep sea. Nigel waited patiently. I've fallen for Mimi. I think I'm in love with you. I've heard the story's end. Aren't we? Start? I want to, but Mimi cut her short. No, you shouldn't think that. The story's not over. It's just an entertaining game. I'm just a phantom. No matter how much you love me, you'll never own me. Nigel felt cheated, emotionally hurt. But Mimi chuckled, asking, like you hurt your wife? Nigel was stunned, scalp tingling, because his wife watched coldly. He quickly ran to his wife, smiling widely, explaining. But his credibility was still bankrupt. Fiona ignored him, gracefully swaying to the dance floor's center, and began dancing intimately with Mimi. Their interaction was wild yet gentle, fiery but restrained. One a seductress, one a temptress, providing a feast for the eyes of the delighted onlookers. No one doubted that if they weren't in public, their battle would surely ignite. Finally, after a passionate private dance, the two women adjusted their skirts and left, leaving onlookers to their wild fantasies. Nigel was dumbfounded. She was the outsider. Oscar laughed, finding it hilarious. He understood Nigel's feelings perfectly. Because his whole life would be just as tragic. Nigel's mind exploded, but who could he blame? He could only run to the deck, drinking in the cold rain, to drown his sorrows. However, after sobering up, his wife still hadn't returned. Nigel found a secret cabin, 100 lilies spring palace painting, water's soft jade mountains, dragons, abyss, bright sun, behind it, spring breeze. Oscar seemed to have enjoyed the entire process. She bluntly told Nigel he'd missed out. Fiona, this English rose, had unleashed all the passion and used sensuality from her entire previous life. Nigel probably wasn't blessed enough to enjoy it. He felt his wife's descent into madness and promiscuity. He considered Oscar the instigator. But the next second, he was subdued by Oscar's pistol. Please, mercy. I was just kidding. But Oscar wouldn't spare him, killing him. That day, Nigel and Fiona, like survivors of a nightmare, no longer dwelled on past grievances or wrongs, nor did they try to revive their fading passion. Everyone has a dark forest in their heart they can't escape. Some are lost within it, while others desperately try to break in. Well then, that's it for today's commentary. If you liked it, remember to follow, like, and comment. We'll see you next time.